Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thursday morning, the end of September, the beginning of October tomorrow. This year is flying by. I mean, flying by. I can't believe it. But it's all good. It's all good. It's true what they say. The older you get, the faster time flies. Anna, I'm crazy. That's cool. Hi, all. Good morning. I'm new. Well, welcome in, Anna. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Franklin Hill Ventures. Yes, yes, yes. Let's do this. I put the link in the very top to come on in. Franklin said he'll go over List Perfectly because we were talking about List Perfectly yesterday. With my friends from Resale America. So, because I use a different VA system. But hold on there. Pam, good morning. Good morning. Land Shark Picker, how are you doing? Thanks for coming in. I always think Paul's introduction is me selling something. Yeah. That blew me away when I did that. Of course, as you saw in the video, it's mostly all DVDs and cheap stuff. But it ended on my birthday, and I just said, I want to film this. So I just took my wife's camera and filmed it because I had to have things end fast because we were leaving to go home a day later. Yes, Paul, my mom always says that. So without further ado, good morning. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Paul?
Good, good. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
I like that sign in the back there.
Oh, thanks. A friend of mine made that for me.
What is it? An adventure in shopping. Find us online. That's cool. That is cool. So what are you up to today?
Well, I've got to go get a flu shot here in a little bit, so try
A
to get
flu
this.
or
No, I'm getting the flu shot this time. I mean, I had both my COVID shots a while back when I worked at the hospital.
yeah.
So, and I'm not eligible for the booster, so I won't be doing that, I guess, anytime soon.
How come you're not eligible for the booster?
Well, because I don't work at the hospital anymore, and I'm just not in the age. I think you've got to have certain pre-existing conditions. Although somebody told me they don't really check as long as you bring your vaccine card, they'll pretty much stick anybody who wants it. But for now, I'll save it for the people who really need it and maybe get mine sometime.
Yeah, we have to. My wife Sandy is a federal employee, so she has to get it, and I'm going to get it because we had the Delta COVID thing already, but we have to wait 90 days, so we can't do anything. I think until November something to get the shots, the vaccinations.
Well, so far my new company, which is me, isn't requiring the booster, but I will get it as soon as it's available. Because working in the hospital, without getting political or anything, I mean, I saw what it does to people, and you've experienced it, so it can be bad. So,
oh my God, the worst sickness I've ever had. Sandy too. Typically she would get sick and then a week later I would get it, or I would get sick and then she would get it. But I used to get my flu shots every year, which was, knock on wood, great. Haven't been sick. And then we both got this at the same time. We think it's because we were in the hospital. She had her shoulder operated on. And soon after that, we were sick. So we think it was from the hospital, being in the hospital.
Well, I'm glad y'all pulled through because I know, I mean, from listening to you yesterday, it sounds like it hit you really hard. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Amy, Hot Mess Thrifter, thank you for coming. And Stephen, too. Thank you. Thank you. So you use List Perfectly. We were talking yesterday with Estevan from Liquidation Motivation, and they use List Perfectly along with InkFrog. InkFrog is a listing platform that you could use, but you're not using InkFrog, are you? You're just using List.
I'm just using List Perfectly, and I've been using it. It will have been a year in August or last August. So I've been using it about a year and a month or so. And I mean, and to be honest, it was a game changer for me just from the standpoint of being able to get all my stuff cross posted and, just ease of listing too. I mean, it really, for me anyway, it's improved my listing efficiency and just like I don't have a VA or anything right now. I just do everything myself. So,
Yeah.
if you have a VA, your mileage may vary. I know List Perfectly is only certified to work in the U.S. and in being on their groups, I know some people have had success with their VAs in other countries using List Perfectly through a VPN, but that's not technically a supported model. So,
Okay.
right now it would have to be somebody in the U.S. and I just use it personally, and I use it to cross post to 7 different platforms. If you count Instagram as one of the platforms that I post to, and just I guess there's 3 different. Well, do you want me to go ahead and share my screen? And
Yeah. What I was going to say is I use a VA. I use Hammock. I didn't want to promote them because it had taken me, and I'm still going through, I don't know, growing pains, you want to call it. I don't know. Getting my VA to do everything correctly. All I'm doing is giving him the photos. I'll take photos of an item and I send them to him. Now they say that's all you need to do. I don't know. Sorry. Um, but I'm giving him a little bit of information on the product. And then I'm giving him, this is going to ship, this weighs 12 ounces. It's going to ship in a 9x7x4 box, first class mail. So the next day, I'm going to get all my drafts. And he'll have the price, he'll have the description, what it is, he'll have the title, the shipping method, as much stuff as he can filled out, saved for me as a draft. So now all I have to do is go into eBay, and right now it's just eBay and Mercari. He'll do wherever. I used to do Etsy. I stopped because I didn't like the 20 cents per month per item. He'll do Bonanza, Depop, Shopify, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, there's places I never even heard of, but they'll do them all. So what I was wondering is, List Perfectly, are you just doing the same thing? Do you just put in the photos and List Perfectly does everything else?
for the most part, I mean, it's not completely automated. And, the two cross listing tools that I know of are List Perfectly and Vendoo. And I don't have any experience with Vendoo, but I know that people who use it like it as well. So the main reason I chose List Perfectly initially was because back last August when I started this, Vendoo did not support Facebook Marketplace, and that's one of my big markets. So List Perfectly did at the time, and I think Vendoo since added that support. But I'm so ingrained with List Perfectly now that I will probably never try Vendoo, but maybe there's other people watching who have used it and can chime in on what they don't like about it. Now, as far as I know, none of the cross-listing tools are going to be completely automated. That goes against terms of service of the different platforms. So, what List Perfectly does is it really gives you, I guess, a tool to automate to the extent possible, getting your listing started and then pushing those listing drafts out to each of the platforms. And then it automatically opens tabs as you list a listing. And then you go in and review it, finish it, whatever you need to do. And then you click the submit button to post it. I mean, what I found is eBay requires the most information out of any of the platforms. So usually that's the one that, takes the longest, I guess, to review the listing and click. But I can list to 7 different platforms. I've timed myself several times, from taking the pictures to uploading the pictures to getting the listing created and List Perfectly, pushing it out. I can do that somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes per listing, depending on, how much stuff there is. And I have templates built, and I continue to fine tune my workflow to try to make it more efficient.
That's excellent.
The other thing I like about List Perfectly, it's very flexible in how it works. I mean, it can support many different workflows, and I think it's very easy to, I don't know if customize is the right word, but there's enough ways to do different things within the software that no matter how your listing flow works, there's a good chance List Perfectly, will support it. Now, you may have to tweak what you're doing a little bit, but I really like the flexibility of List Perfectly.
Now, what is the cost for List Perfectly?
So let me just share my screen here real quick. Let's see which one.
I appreciate you doing this too, taking time out of your day.
Got to make sure I'm sharing the right one here. I think this is it. All right, so let me get the right screen pulled up here. Gets a little confusing sometime when you're working on video on a couple of monitors. So, all right, can everybody see the List Perfectly screen there, Paul?
Yep.
Actually, I can look over and see YouTube now. So the pricing, so they have 3 different tiers. They have Simple, Business, and Pro. And I'm on the Pro plan, so I'll also give that caveat, as I go through and kind of show how I use it. I mean, obviously, each tier does more stuff, and I'm kind of a jump in with both feet kind of person. So, I mean, I jumped immediately into the Pro plan because you can always downgrade at no cost. And, as I looked at the different features, and it's really mostly about, as you get down here, like how many fields and stuff come over.
Right.
And so here's all the information that's copied over with the Pro plan. I just thought if I'm going to pay to use it, I want as much stuff to come over as possible so that I'm making myself as efficient as possible. And I know $70 a month may seem expensive, but I mean, it's paid for itself exponentially with me anyway, just with the number of listings that I do and have. So there's actually a couple of different ways that you can use List Perfectly. So you can use it simply just to cross post between platforms. If you like, List Perfectly has a built-in catalog, which if you look here under My Listings, and that's what I use, it gives you a central repository to keep all of your stuff. So
now let me ask you a question on that.
Sure.
Because I don't know, you must remember, was it last year eBay lost a lot of pictures for people's listings?
Yep.
So if you are using List Perfectly, does it store the photos so you could just go back and get the photos and relist it?
It absolutely does.
Okay.
And
That's good.
and that assumes that you're using their catalog because, and I guess just to back up a little bit, List Perfectly, and I think Vendu's the same way. I think any of the cross-listing services are going to work the same way. They do require a computer. Now, it can be like a Chromebook or a PC. It's just got to be something that has a browser that supports Chrome extensions. So you can use either Chrome or Edge. I use Edge, and it's worked very well for me, but when I'm doing it on my Chromebook, I use Chrome, and it works just as well. So you do have to install the List Perfectly extension. Now, you can use it from your phone to like look up stuff. You can actually add listings into the catalog. You just can't do the actual pushing it out to other platforms because that does require that extension. So that's just one caveat. If you do everything from your phone, then you really can't use List Perfectly to cross post. You have to at least have access to a computer or a Chromebook.
Okay.
So I guess just starting out, like the way some people use List Perfectly, simply to say, I've got X number of listings in eBay and I want to start cross listing these out to other platforms. And what List Perfectly will do is the extension adds this little icon to all your listings, and it actually adds it on every platform. So we can look at eBay, we can look at Etsy and see that same icon.
So it'll automatically grab, and I'm sorry for keeping interrupting.
Oh, no worries.
I'm just wanting to say questions as they come to mind. Once you get list perfectly, and if you have 500 listings, it'll grab them automatically?
No, it doesn't do that automatically. So you can bulk cross post, so and as I mentioned, you can actually start listings in the List Perfectly catalog. But if you have existing listings that you want to just cross post,
Yeah.
then you can go to eBay. Like, for example, like here's some, like anything that you see CPM after in my custom label, that means it's been copied to List Perfectly. The List Perfectly extension actually also tells you here that this has been copied, out of eBay to other platforms, where this
Okay.
one doesn't. But if I wanted to move this into another platform, I simply click on this, whoops, and it will bring up this, and you would just select all the other platforms that you want to cross post it to, Macari,
Very cool.
eBay. But the way I would do it, because if you just cross post directly to those, it's not putting it in your List Perfectly catalog. And then basically you're manually still like managing the where you have things cross posted.
Yep.
But you can also cross post it to your List Perfectly catalog by clicking here, and then I could click copy. That would move it into here with these other listings. Then once it's in your List Perfectly catalog, then you can push it out to all the other platforms from there, and you've got all your pictures and everything stored in here.
Okay.
So I mean, that's the way I do it. So I'm not really going to talk too much into using, from within each platform, using that List Perfectly icon. About the only time I use it's when I'm taking my legacy stuff that I had on eBay and I want to, go ahead and cross post it. I've been more focused on just any new listings I cross post, but every once in a while I will come in here and move something, or copy it from eBay to another platform.
Okay. Is
So
there a limit to how many items you
no,
get?
and it doesn't matter which of these pricing tiers you're at, all of them get unlimited listings. And the good thing is, so normally when I first come in, here, let me do this. I have my default set to when I first come in, it doesn't show sold items. So it only shows my unsold items.
Yeah.
But you can keep your sold items in here too as long as you want. And they actually have, the nice thing is when you sell something, if you want to take the time to do it, like if you didn't already have another like spreadsheet or some other platform you were using to keep track of all your cost of goods sold, fees, shipping, they have a way where you can put that information in the List Perfectly. And then they have an analytics that I'll show at the end that, you can look and see, I'm selling this much on eBay, this much on Etsy, kind of get an idea of where you need to focus your efforts on your cross posting.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
But the other nice thing that List Perfectly does, it makes it really easy to like delist, relist. But after you get something in your catalog, rather than having to go to each platform and search for that, like if I want to go look at this listing on Etsy, I just click right here and it'll open Etsy and go directly to that particular, item. And then I could edit it from here, deactivate it, delete it if I wanted to.
So if that item was listed on eBay and it's sold today, would it take it off?
Yeah, let me show you how that works, because I actually have something that I sold this morning that I went ahead and didn't remove from the catalog just so that I could show it in here. So when you sell something, you can search in your catalog. So I sold this little brass and alabaster trinket dish, which is right here. So I sold this for $25 and it sold on Etsy actually. So the way that you mark these as sold is you go into the edit listing, and once again, there's multiple ways that you could do this, and some people do it differently, but I'm just going to show how I do it. Mm-hmm. And then if you decided to start using List Perfectly, there's a ton of videos on the List Perfectly YouTube site that show, how to do everything. Then there's actually a lot of users who have created their own videos as well. So there's a ton of resources out there on how to do this stuff. So I would just go in and edit this listing. And there's where it keeps all your photographs. And the nice thing, it actually has photo room integrated in. So you can do all your background removals, cropping, resizing, all that kind of stuff directly within List Perfectly. So if you already have a photo room app, and I know like some people do for background removal, you get 500 free background removals a month within List Perfectly. So if you're not doing that many and you had a photo room subscription, you could actually cancel that. And, that would kind of be money credited towards your List Perfectly subscription.
Okay.
So what you would do, the first thing I always do, since I do track my cost of goods sold in here, I just come in here and make sure that I have my cost of goods sold correctly set. And that is what I paid for it. And then you just come down to inventory and sales and you click on the sold button. And what that's going to tell you is that it's going to, end this on all your different platforms. And this is another thing. It's kind of semi-automatic. I mean, it opens up tabs, and on most every platform, it automatically either deletes or ends the listing. Sometimes Facebook Marketplace can be a little wonky, and you'll see this. I mean, sometimes you do have to manually end that, but it will open up a tab for it. So when I click OK here, what you'll see is it starts opening tabs for all 7 or all 6 of these platforms that this was listed on. And so if I go to Macari real quick before it does it, here you can see this and you'll see it go away. So it deleted that listing. And the reason it's saying page not found on some of these, even though I did not mark it sold in the List Perfectly catalog, just to keep it from accidentally selling on another platform, I just manually went to each of these platforms and deleted it. That's why it's saying page could not be found. Normally it would go to that listing and delete it. Same thing.
So when you hit that sold button, it took them off automatically.
Well, it actually opened these tabs, and yes, and it takes them out automatically. Now, like I said, before the video earlier this morning, I had actually gone in and already manually deleted these off each of the platforms just so they didn't accidentally sell again. But I didn't want to mark it as sold and List Perfectly so I could show that in the video. Right. So it'll open all those tabs, automatically mark it as sold. And
so you do sell on Etsy too?
Yeah, I sell quite a bit on Etsy. Now, I'm kind of choosy as to what I list there just because for the reasons you said, it's 20 cents a listing. And, there's certain, and it's got to be vintage or handmade, and I don't make anything because I don't have any creative bones in my body. So everything I sell on Etsy's, vintage. So I do list quite a bit on Etsy.
But now let me ask this. Because I told people on several of my shows, I said I didn't like it because in August it charged me 20 cents per item. And then September 2nd, it charged me 20. And they said, no, it should only be per quarter. I guess they do that because I didn't buy the monthly membership store thing.
No, it should be whether you have I can't remember what they call theirs. It's like Etsy Plus or something, but no, it should just renew it's either 3, I think it's like you said, every quarter. So I'm not sure why you're getting charged every month because even if you don't have the Etsy Plus, it should just be 20 cents every quarter on each item. Now, it's a rolling, it doesn't do them all. It's based on when you listed it. So it's going to do it 3 months after you listed it.
Right. Well, after the second charge, I stopped and my VA said, do you want me to put all 4? At that time, it was 400 and something. Do you want me to put them all on Etsy? And I said, no more. Stop. And then Bonanza, I haven't done Bonanza yet because I didn't want to do their store either.
Yeah, I've never used Bonanza either. I know that it kind of integrates with eBay, and it's one of those I've thought about looking into it. But, just based on what I've read from people, it wouldn't hurt to do it because I don't think it really costs you anything, but I don't think you sell a whole lot on there either. But, it may be something I'll look at one day. I've just recently started selling on Amazon and so far done pretty decent on there. I'm not doing FBA or anything. I'm just doing merchant FBM. But
yeah, excellent. If you have a multiple quantity, and Yellow Brick Road, thank you for coming in. JRKR, thank you. This is Franklin Hill Adventures Stewart. He's going through List Perfectly with us. He uses it all the time. Yellow Brick Road Reselling says, if you have a multiple quantity and you sell one, it will auto renew for the next item.
Oh yeah, they're talking about on Etsy. That's true. Yeah, that's when you get charged 20 cents. It's kind of weird the way they do that. When you sell, and I don't sell that many multiple quantity items just because most of my stuff is one-off vintage and antique things. But
right.
I do occasionally, yeah, and you'll get a random 20-cent charge for redoing the listing if you have any quantities left over, which that does seem a little bit like highway robbery, but it doesn't really affect me that much. So.
Right. Wonder Woman, thanks for coming in. Yellow Brick Road says Bonanza is free. Junkie, how do you say that?
Probably just Junk Trader, but
Junk Trader. Yeah, I'm sorry. She sells a couple a week on Bonanza. Thank you for coming in. And let me just tell everybody, because I'm struggling here a little bit. If you rewatch this video, just click on full screen so everything looks nice and crisp to you. I have both screens open and the chat, so my screen's kind of small. But once again, I want to thank Stuart for coming in and showing us List Perfectly. This is, I haven't done it yet, and I'm thinking of moving from the platform that I'm using, which is a VA, and trying something different. This is very, very interesting.
Yeah, and just to finish out this sale, Paul. So, and then once it's automatically removed it from all the platforms, then you can just click on the platform that you sold it on, and then finally click update. And then what we will see here, once it goes back to the catalog, and if I go to my sold items, you should see that one at the top of the list, and you can keep up with where you sold everything. So,
and it stays there in case maybe you get another one, you could list it again.
Yeah, I mean, it'll stay there basically indefinitely. So, I mean, and the last thing I wanted to do, I actually have a listing ready to go. So I was just going to run through real quick, adding a new listing, and then, probably leave it there. I know it's it can be a little overwhelming, when you see too much information at one time. But
no, that's cool. Let me ask one more question while it's fresh in my mind.
Sure.
You had on one screen, you had added your cost of goods.
Yeah.
Does List Perfectly offer an accounting report, like at the end of the month or whatever? And does it take out the fees? Like if you sold something on eBay, does it take out the fees and shipping and just gives you a net? Because that would help people a lot.
Yeah, actually it does. And that's the one thing I forgot to do whenever I was ending that listing, and it's because I haven't packaged it up yet, so I don't know what my shipping weight's going to be.
Okay.
But what I would normally do, I normally would package it up, then I would come in here and end the listing on List Perfectly. So if I go back in here and edit this, the one piece I did not do down here where I ended wrong tab. Down here where I ended these listings, you can put in your fees, what your shipping cost was, and then what your total sold price was. And then it'll keep up with your profit for you. So, then when I save that, and I'm not going to save it yet because that's not my actual numbers, but they have this sales analytics area. So if we go there,
so you could share this with your accountant.
Yes.
So this is like my VA does not do this, but this is twofold. This is really good information because you're not only getting listing platform, you're getting an accounting type of platform too.
Yeah. So here's, so this is just showing me sold items. So, I don't know if this is year to date. I haven't set a filter or anything, but it gives you your revenue. It shows how much you've sold on each platform, shipping costs, fees, and then it breaks it down by each, every platform down, or every item down here. And there is a way to export this out, I believe, somewhere. Yeah, download CSV. So you could download all this into a spreadsheet. But the nice thing is, if you wanted to just, we can say, just show me the stuff I've sold on eBay. And then it's going to go out and, just pull eBay stuff. So
That's awesome.
So there's a lot you can do with that. Any other questions about that, Paul?
On the sales, no, that is good information. That relieves you from having to do your own separate spreadsheet.
Yeah, my spreadsheet is, as I kind of mentioned in the chat yesterday, my spreadsheet's turned into such a beast. It does everything for me as far as like keeping up with all my antique booth stuff and my online stuff and all kind of projections. So I still use it, but I do populate the information and list perfectly too, because it's a nice place to come and get a quick and dirty, which platforms am I doing the best on, and those types of things. So so let me just run through real quick adding a listing. Like I said, I have some pictures I took a minute ago of a book that I want to get listed, and then that'll wrap it up. I think that'll be enough information without overwhelming everybody. So if you want to add, as mentioned, if your listing flow, if you still wanted to add to eBay first, you could, and then you could use this button to push it out to either other platforms or push it into the catalog and list from there. I just use List Perfectly as my central repository for everything. That's my starting and my ending place for everything I do online. So I'm going to go to add listing here. And what I'm going to list is this dinosaur, how to draw a dinosaur book that I picked up at a thrift shop. I think I've got like 87 cents in it. So we'll go through this. So it does allow you to build templates. So I'm going to pick a template that I just have one called Book No Dust Jacket. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick a different one. I'm going to do this one here. And what that'll do, any listing you make, you can turn it into a template so that all this, a lot of the information's already filled in to start with. So we're going to start by uploading our pictures. And you'll see these come in really quickly. And then you can just click on the edit button here and you can crop it.
Okay, cool.
Confirm crop. You can change the brightness if you want to. Then you can actually remove the background. And as I mentioned, that's, photo room integration. And you get 500 of those every month. And then we can save that. And then I could go through the rest of these pictures if I wanted to and do any editing of those that I want. But we'll just usually I focus more on my first picture, and then unless they just look really awful, I'll just leave the others as they are.
Yeah.
And then we will come in here and just start putting the information just like you would in any listing. Let's draw dinosaurs. And this is by, let's see, who's the author of this one? Bruce Robertson. And this book is from 1990. So that's the subject, that's the title that's going to push out to all your different platforms. And then, I just do a little short description in here. I use what's called the pro description down here, and it lets you go in and put all these details that are going to end up being bullet points in your listing. You don't have to use that, and I don't use it for every type of listing. Like if I'm just listing a trinket dish, I'll just put everything in the short description and not put anything down here. But for books, where you're listing the same kind of information, title, author, author, publisher, those kind of things, it's nice to have that. So we'll just put in a short blurb here. And then you can come in here and put things like the publisher, which these will transfer over to the different item specific categories in eBay. I'm hoping that List Perfectly will like add some more like specific titles or specific categories for author and publisher and some of those things that will automatically come over into eBay, because you do have to manually put some of that stuff in, as you'll see here in a second.
Yeah.
But for a book, I usually just put in the publisher there and the material, which I always put paper. And then
This is not like eBay where you could, to start a listing, you could just add in you scan the barcode.
no, you can't. But once you have, you can't. It doesn't have like a built-in like catalog of items that you can scan a barcode.
Okay.
And kind of my standard description on books is this. And then this is where you would start coming in and putting the book title. Copy this and put it here. I think I said 1990. I don't think this is a first edition or anything. No. And actually, this edition was published in 1993, it says. Let me change those real quick. And I'm just going to say NA there. And then type is hardback. Dust jacket, no. I'll usually put how many pages it has. And actually, yeah, so this one has 141 numbered pages. Let me just measure it real quick. 10 to 5 by 8. And this one is 10 and 1/4 inches by 8 inches. And it was actually printed in England, I think. Yeah, so this was printed in Great Britain. So that's all there. And then you can come and put keywords in if you want. And these will transfer over to the keyword sections for platforms that have it, like Etsy, like
Macari.
Instagram, Macari, any of those. And you want to put like your main keywords, first, because some of them have less keywords than others.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll just add a few here. That's probably good enough. And then my cost of goods sold was 87 cents. For this one, I'm just going to do $10. I always put the MSRP in there as 0. The only thing that uses that is Poshmark. That's just keeps you from having to manually fill it in. And then my SKUs, where I'm going to put that, and that's going to be in a bin that I call desk. And the only I wish List Perfectly would add a ISBN identifier here. They don't have that yet, so you have to manually type the ISBN in eBay. That's the only one that requires it. Then on your shipping and stuff, you put in the weight if you're doing calculated shipping. And then this will fit in a 12 by 10 by 8 box. I mean, I know all my standard box sizes that I use and those types of things. And then you just save and exit the catalog. And now we have a listing ready to go.
But you didn't list it. You didn't list it yet.
No. So then to list it, what you do, and once again, there's different ways you could do this, but the way that I do it, I just click on the title here, and that's going to open this up. And then here's what your description is going to look like. And if you wanted to tweak this description before you push it out, like I always take out this just because I don't feel it's necessary in the description, but there's all those bullet points I built. Here's that little short description I put at the top. Here's what the title's going to be of the listing on all the platforms. And then, here's some other information. So then you just basically start clicking on the buttons you want to list this to. And I'm going to list this to Macari. I'm going to list it to Poshmark. I'm going to list it to eBay. I'm not going to list this to Etsy just because books aren't a huge seller there and it's like throwing 20 cents away. But I will list it to Facebook Marketplace. And I will list it to Depop. And then we'll go ahead and put this on Instagram as well.
So now let me ask, because every time you click on one, it's not listing it. It's opening up a tab and you have to accept it.
Yep. And that's like I mentioned at the very beginning. I don't think Vendu automatically lists either. All the marketplaces have terms of service that basically say you can't use bots to create listings. So, these various tools like this get around that by they don't technically list the item for you. They just get it ready to list, and then you can review it and make sure everything looks okay, and then push that list button. But as you'll see as we go through this, it's not quite just clicking list on all of them. Like on Macari, it doesn't fill in the category, but usually it'll come up with a suggested category that's okay. It did not in this case, so I'm just going to pick other, and I do this so much that I know where these categories are.
Yeah.
And we'll call this like, I don't know, education and teaching, since it's an instructional book. And then Macari's brand list is pretty slim. I hardly ever come across anything that I sell that's in the brand, so I always just click no brand. And then this stays the same. And then anything that I can ship first class or medium mail, I always do free shipping. Otherwise, I would do the calculated shipping here, but I'm just going to do ship on my own since this is going to go medium mail. And then, here it pulled the price in of $10. I always turn off Macari's smart pricing too, because Macari lets people send offers, but I don't want it to automatically, reduce the price of my listing, because they do it after like 24 hours. They don't even wait a week or anything. And then we just list, and then that one's listed. Usually I don't wait for it to come back. I'll just go straight to the next tab. But once it's listed, you can close that tab. Here's Poshmark. Poshmark doesn't have a books category other than coffee table books under office. I always just put it under home, other, none. And the only thing you have to pick here is one size. It doesn't bring that over, but everything else gets brought over from list perfectly. So I'm ready to click next. And then I always just, post all my Poshmark listings to Pinterest and Twitter for advertising. And then there's
basically it's giving you drafts.
Yeah, more or less, with most everything filled in. And then this is, like I mentioned, eBay probably requires the most additional information. I mean, it's never going to pull in your store category, which that makes sense because they're going to be different for everybody. But so I'll pick that. And then, as I mentioned, it'd be nice if List Perfectly did add an ISBN, field. But I'm just going to put does not apply for now, just so I don't have to take the time to look in the book. Then you can do your condition. I'll say good. It automatically pulled over the description, pulled over all your pictures. Now it does, this is another, you do have to put in the author, like the required ones here. So that was Bruce Robertson. And the title was Dinosaurs, and the language is English. And I know that some people get all hung up on adding all these recommended items. I don't really add them that often. I know, I guess some people get a little anal about making sure everything's filled in, but except for the required, eBay's not going to make you fill the other stuff in. They may send you messages every now and then. I may check a few as I run down through here, just if it looks like I can do it quickly. But then we'll come down here. This is all good. My buy it now price is good. eBay always remembers the last shipping method you used, so I do need to change this to a flat shipping cost. Remove those and add free shipping with media mail. And then I always do local pickup on all my items, and I sell quite a bit local pickup actually, and I do everything worldwide through eBay International Standard Delivery. And
Did you know, and I'm sorry for interrupting, eBay standard delivery only covers you for $100, even if you buy extra insurance?
yeah, I did, and I don't sell that many things over $100. If they're that expensive, then I'll usually just do direct international shipping or the global shipping program, and get the extra insurance. Usually GSP is what I'll use for those, but I don't use GSP very often because it turns off so many buyers versus eBay Standard International because of the way eBay calculates,
Right.
all the taxes and duty on the GSP.
Yeah, I had something that went to India that didn't make it, and I paid extra for the insurance, was $200, and they only covered me for $100.
Hmm. Yeah, so just to finish out real quick here, normally it wouldn't take me this long if I'm not talking at the same time I'm doing it. Um, I'll pick a genre there, then go through, and this is going to be use my own shipping label since I'm doing it free. And as I mentioned, I only do free shipping on things that are medium L or first class. Everything else I do, calculated shipping and let the buyer pay for it. And with the type of stuff I sell, most people don't seem to expect to have free shipping. And then Depop's really quick. We'll just pick books and magazines, condition good. We'll do pre-loved and then click post. And there's my Depop listing. And finally, I do sell directly on Instagram just because it doesn't cost anything other than PayPal fees. So I make a few tweaks to the listing on Instagram. The caveat with Instagram with List Perfectly is it only brings over the first picture. You can't do multiple pictures currently. Anyway, I'll go ahead and share that. And so now, I've gotten that listing out to basically 6 platforms in this case, since I did not do Etsy. And then when I come back and go back to my catalog, I should see that item now posted to those 6 platforms. So as I mentioned, normally from the time I take pictures up until the time that I list get it listed on all the platforms, you're talking about probably 6 to 10 minutes worth of time, just depending on the items. Sometimes books take a little longer just because I've got to fill in more information that eBay requires. But yeah, that's how I use it in a nutshell. And I will mention, just for anybody listening, if you want to try List Perfectly, I think you can use it for a month free. And then if you want a 30% off, discount on your first month, you can use code FHV, Franklin Hill Ventures. So just FHV, and that will give you, 30% off your first month. And in the interest of full disclosure, if you use that code, I do get a very small little kickback, from List Perfectly on that. But yeah,
very cool.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me either on Facebook, or you can send me an email at franklinhillventures@yahoo.com, and I'll be more than happy to jump on a Zoom, call with you. Or if there's, more than one person who wants to do it, I have the pro version of Zoom, so I can have all kind of people on the chat. But I don't mind doing that at all. So yeah, just reach out if you have questions about anything. I also have a couple of YouTube videos on how I use List Perfectly on my channel.
Put your channel link in there. Anybody, if you want to put your link in, if you're looking for more subs or whatever, just put it in there. I'll accept it. But that was very cool. That was very, very cool. So, Depop. I've never even been on Depop. I know this, and there's more out there too. There's like Grailed and oh my God, there's so many platforms.
Yeah, Kittison, Grailed. List Perfectly, and that's the whole reason. The reason I started using Depop was just because List Perfectly supported it, there's no fees to use Depop until you sell something. So there's really no risk in putting anything out there. Now I don't sell a lot on Depop. I think I've sold, that's probably my least traffic platform, but I think Depop's really geared more towards younger people with like street clothes and those kind of things, not so much the vintage things that I'm selling. But I do sell occasionally out there, so it's worth it to stick it out there. And that's one of the fastest platforms to list on too.
Okay. All right. Yeah, very cool information. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. And
very,
like
very
said,
cool.
if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And
so there's Franklin's Stewart's information on his channel and everything right there.
And I'm used to being called Franklin. A lot of the YouTube people call me Franklin because of my company name. So
yeah, but that's awesome. So you are really liking the List Perfectly platform.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was a big part of why I was able to go and try to do this full time. I mean, could I have gone full time without it? Probably, but the amount of time that you would spend managing listings, I mean, if nothing else, take away the efficiency I think it adds to the listing process. Just the fact that you have everything in a repository and you can easily click and get to all the different places you have it listed. If not, you would have to like keep in a spreadsheet. I have this listed on eBay, Etsy, Mercari, and then go to each platform, search for it, do the manual, delist it, do whatever. It would just, it would take such an inordinate amount of time that
right.
I don't think you could really very efficiently do that.
Well, that's like I say all the time, people talk about all the time, I want to get to the next level. I want to get to the next level. And typically you can't do it just by yourself. So by using List Perfectly, it's like having a VA that's helping you do this.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, my biggest thing I've got to figure out as I start on this full-time journey. I mean, I'm like starting my 4th week, I think. I left my job on September 3rd. So yeah, just out a month that I've been doing this. And I mean, first of all, if anybody's thinking about doing it, probably the absolute biggest hurdle I had to get over was insurance. And fortunately, my wife has a quote real job and I'm on her insurance. I mean, if you're just trying to go do this and do your own insurance, I know my brother did this for a while and he made a really good run at it, but insurance killed him because, just for catastrophic insurance was, $1,000 a month or whatever.
Exactly.
And that was just crappy catastrophic insurance. So that was the first thing, we switched over to my wife's insurance about 2 years ago. So that kind of set the stage for me to be able to consider to do this. And I'm really fortunate that I have a very supportive wife and she was very supportive of me trying this. But, I also, over the past 3-4 years, I had this goal to do this at the end of a 5-year period. And I was able to accelerate it some for a couple of different reasons, but I worked real hard to save money too. So I've got a year's worth of salary in the bank. So I'm paying myself, what I was making at my previous job every 2 weeks. I, pull that out of the money I've saved, less some reductions, that I've calculated in for expense reductions, not having to drive. I was driving from Knoxville to Chattanooga for work. So an hour and 40 minutes to work every day,
oh boy. Wow.
One way. Now I did work from home some. So, I have a lot of gas money I'm not paying, clothes cleaning, those types of things.
Yeah.
So I do have at least that fund. And my plan is I start to ramp my business up, I can reduce the draw on that. And, I have, initially I have a year's worth of salary, but if I can reduce the draw, I can stretch that out to, 14 months, 18 months, 2 years, whatever, as I'm able to bring in more from the reselling. But the biggest, I think, challenge I'm going to have is, how do I scale my business when I'm selling the types of things that I'm selling? I do some replenishables, but not a ton of them. I've been really trying to find some more markets other than just vintage and antique to bring in some other revenue streams.
Right.
Now, I'll probably have some opportunities to do some computer consulting after the first of the year at some different companies. But, I know a lot of people, you start making a lot of money doing this part time, but I think, if you're not really doing a lot of planning before you go full time, I mean, it's going to be tough.
It is.
Just
It
because
definitely
there's
is.
stuff you don't think about that your employer pays for, whether it be money you're saving in a 401k, whether it be insurance, whatever. I mean, all that goes away. So, and I'm 54 now, and as I mentioned, my original plan was to do this when I was 55. I was glad I was able to accelerate it a little bit. But, the other thing I got going for me, I got 2 kids out of college. I've still got 2 kids in college. I got one as a senior. So, next May, that'll be like getting
I'm having trouble hearing you.
I'm not sure what that was. Next May, I'll get a big bump in salary because I'll have another kid off the payroll. Then, the next year, another one will come off. So if I can just kind of try to make this work until next May, then it'll be easier. Then the following May be even easier. So we'll see how it goes. But
Right.
so far, so good.
Yeah, well, you're on the right track. Definitely, you're on the right track, and you're making good deals. I mean, with that artwork you got and the ones you sold, you are doing some good stuff there.
And I just want to say I really appreciate this forum you've provided. It's when you start doing this full time, your need for human interaction goes up occasionally. I'm stuck down here in my musty basement all day, so it's nice to have an opportunity to even if I don't jump on camera, just to chat with other people or have a little bit of human interaction, outside. Right. Just my dog coming down here every once in a while.
Yeah. No, I hear you. JRKR 1964 subscribe to you. And thank you, Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, anytime anybody wants to come on and share their knowledge, share what what you'd like to share with other people, because Yellow Brick Road Reselling was saying he's using both List Perfectly and Vendu, and they want to make the decision which one to go with. I'm not using either one. I'm using a VA, but I was thinking of changing, and I'm still now up in the air what to do. But you definitely, I don't know, JRKR. I guess she's doing it all by herself, and she's I call her the queen because she has 6,500 listings.
We should all bow down to that because I just hit 700 last night, and on eBay, and that was my original platform. So I have a few more there than the other. But I'm thinking my goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of next month, and it's going to be a real struggle to do that, to get 300 listings done in 1 month. So I don't know if I'll hit it, but I'm gonna give it the old college try.
That's great though. I was trying to get to 700 by 600 by October 1st, and then you have a kick-ass weekend or 3 days or whatever, and it's like, damn, I'm never gonna catch up. But it's good stuff is selling. It's definitely good that stuff is selling.
Yeah, that's you're right. That's a good problem to have. But yeah, it's like you're trying to get to 600 and you sell 10 things. Now you've got to list 20 things instead of just 10. But
right, exactly. But I've been playing around with so much stuff. Like you said, you didn't like the Macari, the pricing thing there. I didn't know anything about it. So I played around with the last 20 listings last week that I put up there, or that my VA put up there. And it's true, because I'll get an email 3 days later saying, oh, you've hit the limit, so we shut it off. Okay, why don't you let it why do you got to do it so fast? Why can't you let it? So I didn't do anything else with it. But I go on eBay. I hate if I have anything listed longer than 6 months. It just irks me. So I go into my earliest listings and I'll start reducing. I have a good idea what everything cost me, and I'll just start reducing because it's just a matter of price before somebody buys it. It's like anything. Everybody's just motivated by price. That's what it all comes down to. So I've had some weekends where I'll do my oldest items, my oldest like 100 items, I'll do a 20% off. The last thing I did, one weekend, I did 40% off. And it was good. It was really good. Yes, a lot of smalls like CDs and DVDs. Yeah.
And the last thing I'll mention before I jump off, I do need to jump off here because I got to go to Oak Ridge to where my wife works to get my flu shot there. But if anybody does happen to be, anywhere close to the Knoxville area, I know in Clinton this weekend, where I have one of my antique booths, they're having the Clinton River Antique Festival, which was one of the largest antique festivals in the country. And they shut all the streets down, and they have beer garden and food and street vendors with all kind of antiques. All the stores run big sales. And this will be literally the first time. I think they didn't have it last year, so it's been 2 years since they had this. So it's going to be really big this year. So it's one of those weekends where I can make in my booth a whole month's worth of revenue in one weekend. So October is always a huge month for us out there.
Are you going to go live from it?
Well, unfortunately, much to the chagrin of the mall owner, because I'm usually one of the ones who works at it, it's my son's fraternity parents weekend at the University of Alabama. So it's his last one. So we're going to that. So I won't be there.
Okay.
So I'll miss being there. So otherwise, I probably would go live, in between, just you can't even imagine how many people are in the store during this festival. It's crazy, but
wow, it sounds cool.
Anyway, well, I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and I hope everybody found that useful. And if I know some of you said you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate that. Also, go out to my Instagram and like that. I keep everything pretty up to date as far as what's going on in my reselling life there. So if you just go to www.franklinhillventures.com, as shown on the sign back here, that will take you to where you can get to all my different social media platforms, as well as all the different marketplaces I sell on. But appreciate it, Paul, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you very much for coming on and sharing that with us, and have a nice trip.
Thanks.
Thank you. That was really cool. Yellow Brick Road, I have 1,800 working towards 2,000. Wow, that's excellent also. We had yesterday on from Listing Motivation or Liquidation Motivation, and they're working on 5,000 listings or 4,500 listings. They're doing 5,000 a week. And that's awesome. I'd love to get there. It's just that I'm in such a, in between, we'll say right now, with the move and everything that's going to happen. And don't forget, everybody, tonight at 6:30, excuse me, part 2 of my moving sale on my channel here. I'll have some more stuff. I went on yesterday with Johnny, sold a few items. I still have some stuff put aside here, like original 70s and 80s Disney stamps, ton of baseball cards, brand new jewelry. So I'll have a lot of different things. I already did the video on Michael. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. I mention you all the time when we talk about the SKUs. That was a great idea you had. I think a lot of people are using it now. Yes, Southern New Hampshire, Yellow Brick Road. I'm waiting. As a lot of you know, maybe don't know, today ends the eviction moratorium. I know the courthouses are bogged down with evictions and foreclosures. So I don't know. I think by the end of October, the real estate market has already started to level off. By the end of October, we should see more homes on the market. And hopefully we'll be able to find something. We look every day, every other day, but it's difficult. It's not like it's 1,400 miles away. It's not like I can just, something's on the market, let's go take a look at it. Packing is crazy. Packing is crazy. Nashua, we have looked at Nashua, Manchester. My in-laws are in Derry. My son's in Sandown. So that's the main reason is family. That's why you see some of my cases empty. And that's why I started selling some stuff. Like if you look at my eBay store, I can't believe how much some of the stuff went up in price. You know, I used to sell like one of the figures for $39. I just sold it on eBay for $150 and fast. You know, I kept one for myself and it's like, damn, these things went up crazy. But I'll have some stuff today. I will have some stuff today. So if there's no other questions or anything, I know I ran way over, but I appreciate Franklin Hill for sharing his knowledge on List Perfectly. And if anybody ever wants to come on and do that, that's fine. Love the interaction. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to end it here. Let me just wait for the lag. I know we have like a 20-second lag this morning. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Please make sure you're subscribed, and you'll know every time I go on. Turtle Trader, thank you for coming in. Yugon's husband, thank you for coming in. Thank you. Michael, thank you. All right, everybody. Hopefully I will see you tonight. Have a great day. Bye-bye.